the last time where we talked about story splitting, we talked about 80-20 rule, trying to figure out what's heavy, and maybe that heavy part, heavy lifting, is not the most important part in the story. So if we can negotiate with the product owners and show them the effort, and then show them, that if we focus on this acceptance criteria and ignore XYZ acceptance criteria, then we can build the story better, release it, and all the good stuff. So here we're back into some options about story splitting. I've already emailed everybody about this document that you're looking at. There are 21 techniques in here that can be used to split. So I'll be quiet for a moment, let you guys read this. So I think you get it, right? Although this looks trivial, reverse order and everything, but believe me, there have been times in my career that when I tried to sort it in a certain way, end of the day I realized that I have to add a priority field and then sort it on that field, so it became very complex. This looks simple, but when you try to do it, it becomes complex. So be very clear on uh, how to split this stuff, right? Moving on. Major effort. Give you a moment to read. I think this is pretty straightforward. Um, it's also a good way to, I think it'll also help us communicate back to the product owners. Acceptance criteria. So again, more of the same. And I remember when we started doing add to basket, somebody had, and at that time it was mostly me, Zishan, and Brian. We were discussing most of this stuff, and um, there was this discussion of adding stock to add to basket, and Zishan put his foot down and he said, no, we will not do anything to do with stock at the moment. Sorry, because it's just too complex. The updates will be required, the batch process will be required. And he explained very well, and we dropped it. Now we're doing stock 1 year down the road, right? So let's be smart about this stuff. So next one, variations in data. This is a good one. Okay, so someone asked Martin Fowler that, if I know that we are going to do localization down the road, should I build the localization infrastructure in my design from day one? And when I read his answer, I was totally surprised because I'm old school, I'm waterfall, right? So I was thinking, yes, of course, it's a no-brainer. What kind of question is this? But Martin Fowler said, no, you will only do it for one language, and nothing in the database will have provisions for other languages till you get to the sprint where you need to do it, right? And it goes hand in hand with the concepts of evolutionary design, unit testing, refactoring. If you have all the good stuff in there, you can do that. And it gives you a lot of speed, and it defers the thing. Because, for example, you're doing a feature and that whole feature is dropped, who cares whether it works for French or not, right? Okay, so I'll stop here. I think you get the idea. You'll have to read through data boundaries. This is very good, excellent presentation that I found. Interface variations, platform options, brilliant. Business rules, role based, brilliant. Spikes, low fidelity, high fidelity, transient then persistent, dummy then dynamic data, manual then auto. So many ideas, so many ways to split a story. Error handling and logging. Okay, and I'll let you read this for a moment. Which pattern to use? um, Needless to say, 80-20 rule. Remember the 80-20 rule, and then read this.
That's very well.
Choose a split that gets you more equally sized small stories. Brilliant. And there's lots of references. So I'll stop and take questions. Let me stop the recording and take questions.